This video is showing how I get characters from Poser and get them into Unreal Engine. I'm doing it just to give everybody a better feel, as well as a reminder to myself what I do. Here's a character. This is a dressed character. I use originally the V4 character, and you see her showing up as white because she's a Cycles. She uses the Cycles materials, but if I wanted to render it, we could render it in Firefly, and you could see what it really looks like. So if I wanted to render, let it render here. It'll take a second. And I'll put the clothes on her, put the hair on her. So anyway, that's what she really looks like versus the white skin over here in the preview. But and not now it shows with the regular skin, because I've told it not to use the Cycles renderer but the Firefly. But that's an aside, by the way. It doesn't matter. So here is what I'm trying to go do. And as you can see, if you look at, there's Jan, a sundress, hair, and some sandals are the different pieces here. The first thing I have to do is combine the figures, because you don't want them all separately to go down, because this is why Jan would walk out of her clothes, the problem I had before. So I'm going to go real quick here and say combine figures. And it'll take a minute or two to go, so I will let it go and pause for a sec. All right, it has finished combining. So now if I to say what's in the scene, you'll see Jan, the sundress, the hair, the sandals, and something called Jan 1. Jan 1 is the combined figure, so what I want to do is get rid of the other ones. So I'm going to get rid of Jan, the sundress, and I'm just hitting the delete key here. That, and I think I had one. Get rid of the sandals. All right, and there you go, because it had copies of those. So here's a combined figure of all the meshes combined onto one mesh. I am going to now I run a Python script, and the Python script cleans up the morphs. So first of all, I'll go to make sure I'm on the body, and I will run this Python script I wrote. And what we'll do is it gets it down just to the morphs and puts it in a naming convention that I wanted to standardize. So now if I look at things like chest, it's got and look at parameters, it's got these morphs that you could do. So inside of the game, not so you don't have to do the morphs in Poser, you do the morphs inside of the game because of that script I wrote. So now it's ready to go. So now I export it, and you want a single frame, and I don't want to export any of the cameras, just want to export the figure. So get rid of the cameras, even though it doesn't really matter that much about the cameras. But anyway, I select it, it says OK, and the settings are centimeters. You don't want to bake the morphs because you want to be able to morph in the game. Then I set the materials up like this, and I said this is the 4096 in case there's any big ones. It doesn't save them as 4096, but it says if there's anything, it will save up to 4096. Usually they're much smaller. And then I say OK, and then it says, well, what morphs, since you didn't bake the morphs, what morphs to do? And I say select them all, but then I unselect the body morphs, because body morphs don't work inside of Unreal. I haven't figured a way to do that, doesn't matter. But all the different other morphs are there, all the hip, the abdomen, the chest, and so on, that my script set up, my Python script made. And then I select OK, and it'll take a while again for this to work. You have to first of all obviously select something to save it to. So this is floral dress, and I'm going to set not to an FBM but to an FBX. Let's say save and give it a few seconds. Alrighty, now it's saved. So if I would go and look at my file, it'll be out there. But let me go to Jan Floral Dresses out there now. About 51 meg. Then I go into Unreal Engine and I keep my DAZ characters, is where this is at, and V4 combined, and I will go out here and create a new folder, and I will call this Jan Floral Dress. Open the folder, and then I will import into here. And I will just import this. Again, this will take a few seconds. You'll need to fill out this. This is the FBX import options. We want to set it to the V4 skeleton, so it doesn't keep bringing in the same skeleton over and over and over. That's to say, use something that's already out there. And these are the settings I have, and I can share them later. But this will bring in the character. So if I say import, it will import Jan Floral Dress. It'll take a second again. Okay, it has now loaded in, and see everything that loads in here. And this is one of the things you'll see here. It loads a lot of stuff, a lot of textures. Now, that's an issue I had, so I've written some things to get around it, because I don't want it to keep loading. I already have the V4 Jan character textures loaded up as a P4Elic and V4 combined. I've already optimized the textures and the materials for Jan, and I don't, even though the every time I import it here, it re-brings them in, and it brings them in as pretty bad looking textures that aren't optimized. And so what I've done is you'll look here, I'll open it up here, and you can see here, and you can see how crummy the skin looks. And it's because of the way normals and stuff are treated, but I'm not going to get into that. I used to have to fix up every one of these materials for every time I imported a model, but I wrote a script inside of here, not a script, but a blueprint, an editor blueprint, to go ahead and clean up the materials for me, and basically point them all, for this floral dress model, point them all to the optimized textures I'd already loaded. So if I go back to here again, and what I do is I can right click on the skeletal mesh. I have a script I've written called Edit Materials, and I run it, and it ran that fast. And now if I open it up, you'll see that those materials aren't crummy looking, and they've been replaced. All these materials have been replaced with the optimized materials. Now, so that's what's left for me to do then is go through here and clean up the materials I don't like on the character. And the materials I don't like associated with the clothes that the character is wearing, or the hair. And I can see I've got a problem with the hair. So now I would go back and go ahead and set up, go ahead and fix up the hair. I'm not going to sit here and do that, but again, that's what we would have to do. So if I selected the hair, got the hair in here. Where is the hair? I think this is the hair. Yep. I'm going to bring it over here. So if I have the hair here, what the problem here is just the way that the opacity here. So if let's just go ahead and break that link here. break the link, and see there, now I've got hair. Now I would have to reset the opacity to be what I really want it to be, so I'd have to bring in a real map here that would have, this is, you know how a opacity map would look, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. The point is that you do have to still have to fix things up that for the hair and for the materials that you didn't like. So if I go back in here, you know, that's what I end up having to do. So if I have to save this, I'll just show that it did. Now you see some hair on the top of her head, and I'd have to fix all those pieces of hair. But I'm not going to do that and waste time here. So now I've got it I've got this new one here, and then what I end up doing is this. I say, just because I know what to do now, is I can go ahead and select all these materials and all these textures and just delete them, because they're pointing, all those are pointing to a different set of textures that I've already loaded, and it's going to say you're cool. You can delete. Oh, it's got 2 references. What are the references? Oh, in memory. So I delete those. And I get rid of these. I don't need any of the Jan. I should have deleted the materials first, but that's okay. And these are all the materials associated with the original thing I imported in there. So I cut. So the only things that end up in this folder are things associated with the hair and clothes. And so I've gotten rid of a whole bunch of materials by doing it that way. And then just for the last thing I do, just to show you, is I go in here and I add it to a script here that's handling. There's this data structure in here called figures core, and if I wanted to, we'll call this is an old one, so I'll reuse it. We'll call this what? Floral dress. Floral dress. V4 animation, and I just have to point it to the new skeletal mesh. So I'll look for the new skeletal mesh. No, I think it was called floral dress, right? Yeah, floral dress, and boom, I'll put it in there. I compile and I save that, and that's how it gets into the menu system for the game. So this took longer than I thought, but that's how I do it.